Kidderminster Harriers fans podcast episode 34 live on YouTube. So expect thousands in tonight, which will be lovely. It'll also be on Spotify, uploaded a little bit later as well for anyone who's listening in the car, which is really great, really great. But earlier today, John, didn't we have fun with the guys from Merthyr? And what's the podcast called?
Oh, the best name for a podcast I think I've ever heard. We spoke to the guys from Dial M for Merthyr, and Louis and Wolsey, great guys. Really looking forward to welcoming as many Harriers fans as possible down to Merthyr on Tuesday. I'll be there and have a beer in the ground with them beforehand, and one of their famous chip and sausage cobs.
Curry sauce on the top. How many calories was it, Johnny said?
He said 6,000. I mean, I think it might have been just a touch of an exaggeration. I don't think it'd be more than 5.5.
Yeah. As someone who works in the world of cardiology, I don't think I can condone you eating that sandwich, mate. I think.
Look away, Dan. Look away. Why are you watching him, you perv? Stop watching him. So that was really good, and that will be happening tomorrow at 7 p.m. So if you go into Merthyr, you think I'm going to Merthyr, honestly, the guys were so lovely, and I think you're going to have just the greatest time there, to be fair. We talked about all things Merthyr as well, didn't we, John? We really did. Ricardo Reese.
Yeah.
Can we have him, please?
Strangely enough, they seemed a bit reluctant to let Ricardo Reese go.
Weird. I thought they were my friends. Weird. It's weird.
They've had a fantastic start to the season in a lot of ways, and they've had a worse loss than we have. They've lost 5-0 and they lost 6-4 yesterday. But what they said was they know they're going into games and they're gonna be entertained. They're gonna see goals. They're gonna come out of it knowing that the team have given their all, and if they don't win, they're gonna lose trying to win.
I love that. But I thought. What sprung to mind was very, very Steve Burr approach, John.
Yeah, potentially. I don't think Steve Burr was the just will score one more than you, fat les approach. But I do think that they're going at it to say, you know what, we're here. We never really expected to be here 2 years ago. Yeah. We're going to give it everything we can. We're going to have a good run. And I think I'm not sure how long they've got Reese tied down for, but potentially if they've got him signed up for the season, could they get a fee for him in January?
Yeah,
probably. I think that they're just. What struck me was they're just having fun. They're just having fun, going to watch their football team, and they feel like they're really enjoying their Saturdays and their Tuesdays out. They couldn't speak highly enough of the non-league experience and the National League North experience. And whereas I think we're a bit kind of fatigued and weary of this league now, they're loving it. And it was refreshing, really, to hear two people who are just really loving their football this season.
Absolutely. It's like I said, it'll be on tomorrow on this channel. It won't be live though. We pre-recorded it earlier today. So there you go. John, what you having there, John? Bit of a pint or whatever? Happy days.
I am actually, yeah. I'm having a gentleman's libation.
Obviously. Anyway, let's get into it. So a trip to Chester saw some of the best football Harriers have played this season. But as is the norm, there was an injury to a centre-back, and then we couldn't hold on. For those, John, that didn't see, your summary. Could you do it again for us, please?
I'm not sure if I can do it word for word. I'll try and be a bit more succinct. Okay. I mean, first things first. Before the kickoff, it was great to see Adam Murray get the whole team over to the away fans before a ball was even kicked, to applaud us for going and to really show that they were up for the fight. Show Silva, who was captain again, especially was almost he was fist pumping before a ball was even kicked. So that was great, and you really felt from the off like they were all on the same page. Hashtag stick together, and they were really up for showing that they had fight, and really up for competing in the game. I think every Harriers fan was really pleased to see what we've been crying out for, Reynolds and Davis starting in the middle. And my God, did it make a difference. I thought both of them were superb. Reynolds, for me, head and shoulders above everybody else on the pitch. Not physically, obviously, because Callum Baye's a beast. But he was by far and away man of the match for me. And Davis did exactly what we've been crying out for, which is take the rest of the team by the scruff of the neck and show some leadership. He put his foot on the ball and dealt with their physical threat. And those two really raised everybody else's game. I thought there were some brilliant performances all around. I feel so sorry for Willoughby because he's just obviously such a good footballer, but he's just not getting the rub of the green. Mooney was one who excited the fans, and we had lots of chanting for Mooney right from the off. Nice. He was energetic. He played really well, some really incisive balls. And another person worthy of note is Reece Devine. Reece Devine, back to his best in terms of his delivery, I thought. Yeah. He really was. He was superb at his with his timing and his accuracy of his crossing. I've heard a couple of people say that we were a bit of a long ball outfit yesterday. Now, is that fair? And I have thought about this. Show Silva pretty much played the Amari Morgan-Smith role yesterday. And he did it very well. He won basically everything in the air up until about 70, 75 minutes when I think he was just, he'd run himself into the ground. And I'd say it was really effective the way that he was flicking on to Mooney, to Willoughby. Mooney especially was getting on the end of them really well. Reynolds was following up, chasing everything loose. It just felt like everyone who went to that game yesterday was lifted at the end of that first half. It almost felt like people were looking around at each other going, do you know what? We're going to be all right. We're going to be okay. And I think at the end of the game, it was, if we can find someone to take our chances, because we created a lot of chances, if we can find someone to take our chances, we'll be okay. We'll be there or thereabouts. I think going into that game yesterday, I said I'd take a 1-1, which is exactly what we got at half time. You thought, okay, well, we've dominated, to say the least. We can come out and probably, if we, show the same kind of impetus and the same physicality that we did, and players like Devine are just as on it in terms of the balls into the box, we're probably going to be 2 or 3. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. No. I'm not too... I don't want to be too critical about this thing of us not being able to hold on to a lead, because it's not so much us not being able to hold on to a lead. I mean, in practical, technical terms, of course, but we just can't get a second goal. We're just, as soon as it wasn't for want of trying yesterday, because from the second Chester kicked off after we scored yesterday, we were right back on it. And that's the first time I've seen that this season, because usually we score and we're like, right, okay, let's keep it solid for 5 or so. Let's be steady. No, we were right back on it. And Reynolds especially, I don't want to, run out of superlatives for him, but he was just such a leader on that pitch. We talk about a leadership group, that the way that he performed yesterday, if he's performing like that every week, that's going to raise everyone else's game. So
happy days.
Definitely positive.
I love that. I love that. We've had some comments coming in already, which is amazing. Smiths of Hagley saying, my daughter's just said that man looks like he's 4 antlers, but I think that means got antlers. Now I think that means John Smith, because you do look like you've got a pair of antlers on. Like,
I do, yeah. That's it's been a while since I've been a stag, so that's a bit different.
Gamers, well done, Wes, for working out YouTube. I know, man, I know. And our buddy Nick Hatton saying, much better performance yesterday. Felt like a team rather than a bunch of individuals. Much more intensity and purpose. Take our chances, and we're talking about a win. Yes. So, Nick, hello, Nick. Welcome. Great to see you, buddy. Hope you've had a great weekend so far. Nick, when you saw this team, did you think, yes, we've got this? Is that what you thought?
Did I think we've got this? I like the look of the team, to be fair. I thought it looks a nice, balanced, nice mix of kind of what you need for a decent National League North side. I think the squad, if you look at the squads at the minute, on paper it's definitely the best squad we've probably had on paper in the National League North at any, and I include any manager's tenure in that. We probably had better first 11s, but I don't think we've had a better squad. So, yeah, I thought it looks a nice balanced squad. Nice to see Tunnicliffe in there, I think, as the flagship signing for the season. And to my point last week around creating partnerships and having a good defensive structure, I think he's potentially going to be at the heart of that for us. And when he signed, I think a lot of fans were excited by the prospect of having him back at the heart of the defence. So I think someone's put a message on the group, actually, on the chat, saying that we've not lost when he started or whatever. So if that is the case, then his importance is pretty key in that. And of course, it was interesting actually, because in Adam's interview he mentioned around the changing from the two players in midfield and moving it back to three. And I think having Riley Reynolds and Digger in there, David Davis, I think has demonstrated that a change of personnel in that area was essential, given how we got absolutely ran over in the previous game. So yeah.
I love that. Good evening, Dan. How are you, my friend?
You talking to me?
I'm talking to Dan. Dan, the fan club man. That's what we're talking about. Dan, the $1 million question: why can't we finish teams off? Have you got an answer yet? Can you tell Adam about this, please?
Well, you guys know I'm a bit of an armchair psychologist. I like to sort of try and look at things from a slightly different perspective. We talk a lot about rub of the green, and does we have chances? Does the ball run for us? I think we hit the bar twice on yesterday. I think we had one off the line. Their keeper made a couple of good saves, and when all of that's happening, it's easy to think that those small margins don't seem to fall our way. But I'm not totally convinced this is all about bad luck. Confident strikers don't need the rub of the green. They finish chances in a way that doesn't give the opposition a chance to stop it. And I think right now we're hitting shots that can be blocked, saved, or cleared. We're not clinical with our finishing. And I think I've seen it in Willoughby in particular. And I think before I kind of make this statement, I want everyone to know that I am 100% behind that guy, because I think his movement on the field is fantastic. He creates space for himself. But I sort of feel like the ball drops to him and you see him hesitating. He wants an extra touch. The ball's not falling to him and he's just hitting it. Everything just feels a bit restricted. And I think that's part of the problem, is the fact that the confidence is low. And I think that isn't just about scoring goals. I think it's also, there is, to me, and I really don't like using this term because it's been used in interviews a lot, I do think we are carrying a bit of baggage. And I don't think it's from last season. I don't think it's a hangover from last season or anything like that. I think we've got to 12 games and things just haven't gone as we expected. And I think the team are feeling that. It sounded, certainly, I listened to the game on Hereford and Worcester, and again, they did a brilliant job with the commentary yesterday. I feel like that was the best performance and certainly the most positive I've felt about a game. But the minute that the table seemed to turn and Chester came into the game a bit, you felt the anxiety run through the whole team. And I'm sure we'll dive into that later, so I won't go into too much detail here. But I do think that is part of the problem with our strikers, is that they're feeling almost, I would say, performance anxiety, because I'm sure you can get a pill for that. But I sort of feel like it's very much a case of, there's this kind of concept of, I can't remember the proper name of it, but it's almost like an effort gradient, that you put more effort in, your performance drops. And I think that's a little bit what we're seeing with the strikers. I think they're carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. They're feeling like, well, if we don't score, the lead's going to get thrown away, or the game's going to get turned around. I think there's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy going on that is happening. But I feel confident that when the chances start flowing and the goals start going in, I think we're going to be okay. Like John said, I think we're going to be okay. The new guy, I can't say his name. What was his name? The chap at the back.
Callum Bailly.
Callum Bailly, that's him. Yeah. I mean, like, what did he have? 4 or 5 chances, really good chances that he took as well. He just, like I say, the ball didn't end up in the back of the net, but he was in the right place at the right time, and he's clearly going forward a bit of a handful. Willoughby's movement, I've always said, is fantastic. I did a bit of a deep dive into that a few weeks ago, and really impressed with the way he moves. And hopefully that partnership that we were starting to see build between him and Mooney, hopefully that will come to fruition, and we'll start to see those chances being created and Willoughby scoring goals. So even though I feel like I'm being negative in saying that the psychology is not right, I think it's something that will turn around once the goals start going in. It's all confidence. Everything I can see at the moment, certainly with the front three, is confidence.
John, when Tunney went off yesterday, injured, was it a case of, oh, here we go again? Did you instantly get that feeling, or was it not?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if it's a serious injury. It didn't appear to be. He walked around the outside of the pitch, and actually I went with Sean Connolly, who some of you might know, and he turned to me and he said, "Oh God, he's walking past the Chester Terrace. He's going to get pelters here because he used to play for Wrexham." And nothing. No, they weren't shouting at him or jeering him, and I think that was the theme almost throughout. That Chester fans were really quiet and pretty poor actually. And you know, I said last week that, you know, I've been to a lot of games. I know the away fans are always the ones who are louder and sing the most, but yeah, Chester were really, compared to what they've been in previous years, quite quiet. Anyway. No, I don't think there was a real sense of, oh my God, this is a bad injury or anything like this. I think it was just a shame because he was having a great game, as he's had pretty much every time I've seen him in a Harriers shirt. And I think that he was one of those leaders who was helping the players around him.
I'm going to rephrase that question, John. I didn't do it correctly, obviously. So when Tunney went off, did that affect the team in a way that their heads might have dropped a little bit, like, oh, we've lost him, we've lost the leader, that kind of thing, and hence we conceded like 5 minutes later?
Potentially. I didn't see that straight away, but potentially that might have changed a bit of the communication on the pitch. You know, I keep talking about the communication, and that did seem to drop off a little bit then. But oh my God, how much better was it for the first hour of that game? It was so nice to see players talking again, and getting us back to that feeling. I think someone commented right at the start, the top of the show, as they say, about how it didn't feel like a series of individual performances, but a team performance, and that communication, just the biggest aspect of that, just the encouragement and the talking each other through. Positional sense, even just the basics of shouting "man on" that weren't there the other week are back, and
love that.
You know, and people get overwhelmed by celebrations for things like, you know, clearing a ball or, you know, going out for a goal kick or something, but, you know, really kind of encouraging each other, pushing each other. That seemed to be back here yesterday, and that was really good to see.
John, I'm not being funny, mate, but this is the second comment you've had for your antler ears tonight. Which says,
I will change the background next week.
You're going to have to, pal. It's all about you now, mate. It literally is all about you, my friend. It really is. Carl Wilkes saying, agree with the boys. We're going to be okay. Delight for Mr. Murray, Carl says, and team absolutely believe we need to give Murray and the team a break and get behind them again. Come on, you Reds. Nick Hatton disagreeing with Dan. That's fun. Bear in mind, Nick and Dan did used to play in the same football team together. So that's exciting. I'll put it on the screen. There you go. Kurt didn't look low on confidence yesterday, in my opinion. Thought his drive was spot on. Partnership with Mooney is so promising too. Callum Bailly took a little while to settle in, but it'll come good, like Obi. Oh, is he tall?
Can I reply?
No. Is he tall, John?
Yes, he is. He is tall. I who's mentioned here? Yeah. So Phil Tanner has said that he looked very nervous first half in defence, several slices and missed kicks. Absolutely. And again, I turned to my mate and we were both kind of wincing and grimacing because there were 3 missed kicks and we thought, oh my God, what have we got here? And then he grew in confidence defensively. But after the first corner, we turned to each other and was like, what have we got here? Because honestly, Reynolds and Devine were both finding him, and every single time with every corner, and he was winning everything in the air. He was bringing it down under control. He was composed, and he had one off the bar, but really, he was for set pieces. He's going to be a real handful for the opposition, and I think he's a promising player.
I love that. Dan, sorry, of course you can reply, mate. Of course you can.
Well, as you know, me and Nick played many years ago, good friend of mine. I don't think it's a lack of confidence in the respect of, his head's down or anything like that. I think it's more a case of when the ball drops to him, there is a hesitation that you wouldn't see in, some of the guys who are scoring goals for fun in this league, and maybe compared to Hemo last season. I think, there is the want for an extra touch, the want to be able to steady yourself, the want to be able to pick your spot, essentially. And it's those little moments that give the opposition a chance. I said this a few seasons ago when we got relegated, and it felt to me like the goalkeepers were making worldies every single time. There was probably one of the best saves I've ever seen at Agborough was against Southend, and it was a corner. I think it was Amari Morgan-Smith header, and the Southend keeper clawed it out. It was an absolutely incredible save. But afterwards, I said to my dad, you know what? Like, we're giving the goalkeeper a chance. If the confidence is there, the goalkeeper doesn't get to make that save. The ball's in the back of the net and everyone's running away cheering. And I think that's kind of the essence of what I'm saying, is that ultimately, when Kurt Willoughby is full of confidence and the ball's dropping to him, there isn't a need for another touch. There isn't a need to steady himself. His feet are in the right position. He pings it with his laces and it rips a hole in the back of the net. That's what eventually we will see, but that's what we need to see. When it comes, I think we'll be fine.
So I've had some emails come in, and they've been really nice emails. That's I expect. People are nice, aren't they? So I'm going to try and find this one. I might have to go on to the other bit. But there we go. Yeah, here we go. So, hi Wes. I was wondering if you guys might be feeling upstaged due to the other podcast broadcasting from the home dressing room. Seems a bit too cozy for me. I've been attending it on and off since 1967 when I first moved to Kiddie. Never in until now have I ever heard Agborough referred to as the Agborough. Doesn't sound right to me. For what it's worth, it's great. Your podcast's brilliant. So, regards, Kelvin, sad old git.
Thanks, Kelvin.
Nick, do you think he was talking to you there, pal? Do you think he was?
I've been in the Agborough changing rooms a few times, and I wouldn't describe them as cozy. To be fair, that's the first thing I'd say. I think, look, it's fairly obvious what's at play. Adam from Agborough and Filtered works at the club, so naturally he's going to get different levels of access than what we would. I think their podcast is probably a slightly different flavour of topic than maybe ours, and like ours, I think everyone's gets the chance to listen and watch more things about the Harriers, which is a positive. And as a fan, I quite like getting to see the different spots that they get into. Would it be nice for us to be able to do something like that? Possibly, but also the operational impact we have is that we're not all in the same town, and it'd be difficult to all get together at the same time at the same town. So, look, they're doing their thing. It's great. Would I like us to do more things where we could probably get together and do it? I think that would be really good. But ultimately,
agreed.
Agreed. I think the people that watch this and listen to this podcast, hopefully watch it for the content more than the stage, if you want to use that as the analogy. So, yeah, it's great that there's so many Harriers forums now, and it's gone are the days of scrapping around waiting for a Thursday for the shuttle to come out to see who we've signed or what the latest is. There's a real engagement within the fan base community, and I guess long may it continue.
Well, we know why the housewives watch ours, don't we, Nicky? So that's all good. Talk about the shuttle. I remember, I don't know what year it was. Someone might know. Do you remember when we signed Ian Olney? Do you remember we signed Ian Olney? John, you must remember that.
So, yeah, that would have been, 95, 96, I would have thought.
And he was just going to, someone factoid that for me, please. And you're right, he was in the shuttle. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. He's like in the Premier League or whatever. It's like, yeah, he's amazing, blah, blah, blah. So I thought that was, that's a really good comment to make, Nick.
It was 96. I've just had a look. So, yeah, I'm the dementia hasn't quite set in yet.
And Phil, just in Phil's comment saying about stop being so nice. It's one. Phil's put a comment in the chat about the different flavour. I think ultimately it's a different flavour. I think their narrative is a different one to ours and was from the get go in terms of the. I called it a loving at the time for the manager.
You did.
And I believe that was the case. And I think some of the dialogue in those early days was so positive, which, is good. Some people want all that positivity. Some people like the negative stuff. Some people like something in between. On a personal note, like I said last week, I wasn't calling for the manager's head, but I also wasn't making out that it was a positive we didn't get promoted because we could have missed out on Murray. I think I sit somewhere in the middle with it, and I still do. And I think that was kind of, when I talk about the flavour, I think they're going after a different kind of insight into the club than maybe a chat about the team, about the club. That's kind of what I mean by a different flavour on that one. And that's it really.
Thank you very much, Nick. Thanks for that. Gary Martin says this: for what it's worth, this is the only podcast of Harriers that I watch. Now, I would suggest, I don't know, John, if you're going to say the same thing, but I would suggest just watch it. Just go and have go and taste a little bit of a flavour of something else. If you don't like it, you might not like ours. You might want to go over there. It's one of those things. What are you going to say, John? But it's positive, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
variety is the spice of life.
There you go.
Pretty much the same kind of thing. Different strokes for different folks. But look, I listened to the last Agua Unfiltered podcast. Really enjoyed it. I think that they were actually Adam and Stu. Shout out to those guys. Really lovely guys. Always up for a chat at the game. I think they were really honest about where they're coming from and their perspective. And it's easier for us to have a bit more of a wider remit because we're not essentially part of the club. We can criticize the goings on. We can criticize decisions. We can also applaud the goings on and decisions. We want the club to do well. We're fans of the club as much as the Agua Unfiltered guys are. I'd say we just, whilst Adam was really honest in that podcast and said that he has been accused, and Stuart has, of being too positive about Murray. They know him as a man. They like him as a man. They are friends with him and people at the club. Whilst we certainly are not one of those people that, not one of the groups of people that Adam Murray's talking about who dislike him or have an agenda against him. That isn't us. We're Harriers fans who want him to do well. We don't know him in the same way. We're not friends with him. We're not really friends with people at the club. So we've just got a bit more of a license to talk about things as we see them. And we're talking about, we're talking about things, I would say possibly in terms of what's going on the pitch, slightly more forensically, and possibly, we're just a bit more open-minded is the wrong phrase. Just we're kind of a bit more outspoken about what we think.
Yeah. Ultimately, he has to look at those people the next day in the office, I guess, right? So now he's working there. So there is also just an element of
real life.
Of that. Yeah, of that. But I don't think when they first started the podcast, they were, he was as involved in the club in the perspective that he is now. But yeah, it is what it is. You know, they do their thing, we do our thing. Everyone's happy.
Yeah. And
I do
great
hope-
guys, and love to listen to it.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I do hope that everybody at the club, Adam Murray and beyond, understand that everything we're saying here comes from a good place. It's never intended to be negative or to sway decision in any way. We just want the best for Kidderminster Harriers. So I really do hope that the club understands that as well, and eventually will give us access to the changing rooms.
Just very,
Not when the players are there.
I don't want to go in the changing rooms. This is. I would have been if I was like 11 or 12, but I don't want to go in the stinking changing rooms, man. Why? What is that going to do? I have to pick my scooter up, put it down, pick it up, put it down to try and even get in the bloody thing. So, for me, it's a no-go. I appreciate if you want to go off on your own, Dan, that's fine. Nick Hatton says, other podcasts are available. Yes. So we should give a shout out to Nick's podcast, which is Everywhere We Go.
Very good.
PDL Massive. Nick, still waiting on you to drop a bomb on us, mate. And, get Bo Henriksen in there, maybe. That'd be good. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? That'd be really good if you could get Bo in. That'd be quality. Right. Okay. So I wanted to take you to a little bit of school because I didn't know about this, but we did. Do you remember one of the first episodes we had an email from a guy who's in New Zealand? Does anyone remember that at all?
I think so. Yeah.
Brendan, halfway around the world. Right. So Brendan randomly sent me this because it was all to do with the Merthyr thing, which happened on the Tuesday. He said, my dad's in his 90s and worked down the mine with Jerry Hitchens. And he always said you would never meet a nicer guy than Jerry. With 58 goals in Serie A during his time in Italy, holds the record for an English-born player playing there. He began his senior football career with Kidderminster Harriers in 1953, and it ended with Merthyr Tydfil in 1971. He played 7 times for England, the national team, and scored 5 goals during his international career, which spanned from 1961 to 62. Died of a heart attack in 83 at the age of 48, playing the game he loved, trying to get a header in. There you go. So does anyone know about this guy? Anyone know about him at all? Anyone know? You do, John?
Yeah,
I mean, John knows.
Yeah, he's one of the famous few who played for Harriers and then went on to play for England. There's Jerry. There was Jesse Pennington as well. I think he was before Jerry. And who else have we had that's played for England? Can we count Ben Foster?
But you can, but he was rubbish, apparently.
He was rubbish for us. Yeah, he wasn't rubbish for anyone else. Yeah, I love that we have these figures in our history, and I would really like to see them lauded and celebrated, really, alongside some of the club legends. And that, for me, was one of the best things in recent years was the revamp of the Harriers Arms, where we had our history being celebrated there. It is really, really important that we keep that alive for the fans of our generation and older, and also for the younger generation as well. As you all know, I take my son, who's 13, to the games, and I love to see ex-players around the club and point them out and introduce them to Rory and to see those things in the arms, in the programs. And I think the more that we can celebrate our history and those figures that were big for us or went on to big things, the better. Paul Jones, Paul Jones, someone's mentioned. Paul Jones was
Welsh
goalkeeper.
He was international goalkeeper. How many caps did he have for Wales? I think did he play for Southampton and then
played for Wolves, didn't he?
Played at Wolves as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've got some big figures in our history, and I'd like to see us maybe talk about some of them on a special podcast episode, or have some more nights up at the club where we get some of those legends up there.
We don't get Jerry in, I wouldn't have thought. But there you go. But I'm just looking at his senior career, man. He went from Harriers to Cardiff City to Villa to Inter Milan, Torino, Atlanta, played in America.
What a career.
That's just unbelievable. and then it peaked at Worcester City.
Wash your mouth out.
Yeah, and then Merthyr Tydfil, and then that was it. But I couldn't believe when I read this. I was like, "What? Is he kidding?" And I just thought that's unbelievable. And of course, John knew. Lee Hendry, says Stephen Brown. Lee Hendry, he came. He wasn't that great though. I don't remember. Or didn't he have a fight? Didn't he? Didn't Lee Hendry? Right now, this is not slanderous. Because you know,
went for the most slanderous thing you've ever heard. Now,
Yeah,
we started it with this is not slanderous.
Yeah. Didn't he have a fight with a fan? Didn't he have a fight with a fan?
I don't think he had
game?
I don't think he had a physical fight with a fan. I think it was just a bit of
argy bargy,
a few heated words, I would say, which I'm sure hundreds of Harriers players have had before. Maybe dozens, not hundreds.
Yeah, maybe. Peter Nolan. Oh, see what this says. Peter Nolan and Jerry Hitchens before my time, but was my dad's favourite. Used to drink with him on a Sunday night. Man, those are the days, weren't they? Those are the days. They still do, I suppose. That's fine. William saying, this is nice. Almost comment. You guys bounce off each other. Great. By the way, Nick, sorry. John's drinking. He's on one tonight. Sorry, pal. You were too late when you came in. Yeah, I know. He's just on the pints, just living the dream. Sure. Yeah. So there you go.
That was fun.
That's what it is. Nick, will you be going to Merthyr on Tuesday?
Yes, I will be going to Merthyr on Tuesday night. A new ground for me, so looking forward to that. So yeah, had to make some arrangements to be able to set off. I'm going to go on the supporters coach on Tuesday night. So look forward to seeing Scott, Liam, and whoever else is on there on Tuesday night. Assuming those boys will be on there, but maybe Frenchie as well. So looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a tough test, if I'm honest. I think they score goals, they leak goals. So, you know, if you look at us as a side, we're not the tightest defensively. So I do sense they're going to open us up at times. It's just going to be a case in my mind of, you know, can we find a way to get 2+ goals? Because I think if we don't, it's going to be another one where we don't take the maximum points. And of course, I'm looking forward to seeing Ricardo Reis to see what he can do. Another 2 for him yesterday. A player that we should have made it happen. We haven't, you know, we move on. But you know, I saw this week that Jake Tabor, the guy that was scoring loads of goals and a couple of levels below our level, who went to Swindon on a permanent transfer. Has been out to Bath City. Again, I get the geography of that, but another one that just does score goals. I mean, I know he's been loaned out from Swindon, but he scores goals. Another interesting one this week. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. Wes, I know how much you hate that.
Go for it, man. Go for it. I'm whipping you. Go.
But the guy from Shrewsbury, who was from Leamington, whose name eludes me right now, has gone on loan to, of course, Brackley. What is his name now? Not like me to not know the name.
Someone will know. Someone will put in the comments. Drop in the comments and press the like button, guys, as well. Sorry, I should have said that. It's terrible. And hit subscribe, but you're all subscribed anyway, so just tell other people to subscribe. We'd love that. Thank you. Here's a stat for you, Nick. Here's a stat for you, my friend. One for Dan. On Tuesday, it will be exactly 7 weeks since we won a game of football.
Wow. It's a decent amount of
that's decent amount of time. Impressed. Callum Stewart.
I've just found it. But
just beat me to it. I was just searching.
Callum Stewart. Yeah. So he's another one, and I know he's gone to Brackley, who are the league above us. So I do get that. But Shrewsbury Town, full-time professional football club. My question is, does anybody know, are we in and around these players? And what I mean by that, are we at least trying to have a conversation with them? Jake Tabor, Ricardo Reis at some point last season. Appreciate now, unlikely, but he was running out of contract last year. Do we make him an offer? Callum Stewart, were we in a conversation with him? Because those three, over the last 12, 18, 2 years, bloody 5 years, if you're looking at Ricardo, they are goal scorers and they are relatively local. And yeah, I don't know. I'd like to know if we're in and around these players, we're aware of them. And is it just a case of we try and they say no? Or we don't even try. I'd like to know where we are looking for these kind of players, because in my mind, why would someone like a Tabor go to Bath City over the Harriers, other than maybe location? Same for Callum Stewart. He's going to play part-time football. I guess he might train and top it up at Shrewsbury, but you see my point here. Like, these are established goal scorers in and around our division, in and around our geographical reach. Are we in the mix for them, or are we not? Be good to know. Makes sense on Tabor staying local. I get it.
But if they go on loan, it's the same with the Harriers. If they go on loan to, like when Seb went to Rushall, he stayed and trained with the Harriers, but then on the Saturday or the Tuesday night, he went to Rushall and played. So I'm not sure. I don't know. I hear what you're saying, Nick, and it's frustrating because if they're goal scorers, we're crying out for goal scorers, but it might come good in the end. It really might. So hey, you're watching Kidderminster Harriers Fans Podcast with myself, with Dan, with Nick, and with John. We hope you had a great weekend. Enjoyed the game if you were there yesterday. If you want to put a comment in, please do. The beauty of it now is that we can read the comments out and that kind of thing. Paul Bayliss says, I know Swindon wanted Tabor to stay more local to Swindon.
That does make sense. I'm using that kind of as an example, though. There'll be other examples that will be more local to us. Callum Stewart is another one where there'll be other goal scorers of this ilk that have scored goals for a number of seasons that will be more local to us. I would imagine my levels of knowledge won't go that deep, but there must be plenty of them around. And it's not so much that I'm expecting us to go and get all of them, or that we've got an infinite pot of money. I would just be intrigued to know, are we kind of aware of these players as a football club, and are we engaging with these types of players to see if we can get them as a loan deal, or what are our relationships like with some of these kind of clubs, really?
There was a little bit of chat on X, formerly Twitter, about Harry's were trying to go in for a striker, and I was like, who is it? And they're like, well, it's someone we know. And I was like, probably someone played for us. Who is it? Jaden White. Because who's he gone to? Solihull, is it? They were trying to loan him out.
Was he at Sutton?
No, yeah, that's it, Sutton. Sorry. I knew it began with S. But yeah, they're saying Jaden White was being... But why would we want Jaden White back? Didn't we get rid of him? Or did he leave us on his own accord? I don't know.
He was deemed surplus to requirements by Phil Brown. And I think Phil Brown probably had 4 or 5 training sessions and a couple of preseason friendlies with him, and he decided that he didn't want him. He then went. He was at Redditch for a bit, and then obviously at Hereford, and then to Sutton. I think he was loan at Sutton, wasn't he? And he's still Hereford player. I
think he went to Sutton, John.
Well, was he Sutton permanent? Sure he's come on since he's left us from the few times I've seen him. Do I think that he would add much to the current squad? Probably not. Maybe just some depth. I don't think he would be a first team starter. If I'm honest with you, I think that dare I say the phrase best 11? I don't know. Our best 11 is probably what went out yesterday, with probably Obi back in for Callum Bailly. And I think, I don't think he would be a starter, but I do think he's a player that offers a really good option off the bench and a lot of energy. He's not going to take us to that next level, though, and he's not going to be the striker that we need.
It was interesting in Murray's post-match with Chris Williams and BBC, and Chris said, "Oh, you've switched to the diamond formation," and he was just like, "I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing." Yeah. He blatantly had, and he was like, "Yeah, I put too much emphasis." Dan, you know this. He put too much emphasis on having 3 up top rather than having less. Yeah, so he said that was on him. That was his fault. But the fans were crying out for this weeks and weeks ago. So yeah, there you go.
I think that comes down to what we've been saying. I think Adam Murray is starting to get a feel for the team. I think, and something I'm sure we're going to talk about, is bringing in Stuart Watkis as the assistant manager. I think that's a really smart move. But I think Adam Murray is starting to get a feel of the team. This is Jim coming in again. I'll finish my point quickly.
No, please do.
I think that he is starting to get a feel for the team. He is starting to find his best 11. I think, and he did admit it in an interview a couple of weeks ago, that he still wasn't 100% there. I think having that ear to kind of talk to about, you know, what the starting 11 is going to be, someone with as much experience as Stuart is gonna make a big difference. And I think that's part of what we saw on Saturday. Not taking anything away from Adam, I think, you know, there were some good decisions. I was a bit disappointed with some of the substitutions that were made towards the end of the second half. I felt, and the shift in the setup, I felt the team lost a bit of balance.
Yes.
When we were on the front foot, 1-0 up, I sort of felt like, well, you know, we've put ourselves in a position where we're inviting pressure on. But on the whole, I feel like things are coming together. And I think Adam Murray just looked a bit more settled this week. And I do wonder if that's Stuart Watkins' influence on him.
We'll talk about that after we've spoke to Jim. Jim Kellerman, are you there?
I was literally just thinking about you, Jim, as we were talking about ex-players at Harriers. And I was thinking, Jim, is there a place there? Or...
Of course there is. Of course there is.
How are we all, lads?
You all right, Jim?
Good, mate.
Well, Dan's
right,
clearly
pal.
all right because he's been thinking about you.
I think about Jim all the time.
Dan, it's your Christmas present.
On my phone. Yeah.
I brought Jim in because we got to talk about the under 18s, mate. They're doing just sublime in the FA Cup. And I thought we should talk about it because, you know, they're the only team left in the FA Cup, right? I think. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Mansfield Town next.
Mansfield Town next. They're doing brilliantly, to be fair. They've had some cracking games if you've been up to date with them. I think the last one was actually the most simple one where we won 2-0. But it's the first time that we've been in the first round proper since 2018. I think even before that, the last time was we got to the third round and we lost to Blackpool. So yeah, it's great. We had nearly 400 people in attendance for the last fixture, which makes such a big difference for the.
Did it really?
So yeah, honestly, it's brilliant. And to be honest as well, it's like they're ultras because everyone's just there for this. It's like family mainly. But when we score a goal, it's brilliant. You'd think there's thousands in there.
It helps that your keeper can ping one in from 50 yards as well. That's
he's going up a Puskas award, isn't he? Yeah, no, it's really good. It's really, really good. Really proud of him at the moment, and I think all the coaching staff are as well, especially because a lot of these lads are day to day now with the first team, so they've obviously been learning a lot from training off the gaffer and all the other lads. And it's showing, so they're doing really well.
A question away from the under 18s, Jim. Have you had Botox, mate? Your face looks absolutely just like a sheet. There's no crinkles there.
It's this new streaming app that you're on, I think. It's making everyone look HD in it.
I didn't know you could do that, to be fair. So yeah, that's fine. Phil Tanner says, let's have a look. Let's put Phil's question in. I'm not sure what this is referred to. Or even smaller now, ridiculous. It's only £2, isn't it, Jim? I don't know what to get in.
I'll double check for you right now. I think it's something like that for 16s and unders. It might be a bit more for adults, but yeah, it is. It's not massive.
It's not a great amount of money, and I went to that game, not the last round, the round before, where the keeper pinged one in, and yeah, the thing that really struck me, Jim, was, you know, they were down on their haunches a little bit at that point, but the determination and the effort and the energy still at that point when, you know, they were facing going out of the cup was fantastic. And if that's running through from the youth teams and through the academy, that's only gonna come from the first team and then to the first team. So yeah, I thought that was great, and they really show a lot of pride in playing for Harriers as well, and you feel that. So yeah, all the best to the lads for next round.
Thank you very much.
Nick's got a question for you, Jim.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Have I?
Favorite.
You just literally wrote a question in the chat box. I can ask you if you. Oh no, it was Dan. It was Dan. Sorry, Nick. It was Dan. Go on then, Dan. You can say it, mate. Go on. You can say.
I was going to say.
I got confused then. I got confused.
Well,
Nick's face.
if you're around the camp during the training sessions and stuff, what's the atmosphere like in the camp with the first team? You know, the kind of the men's squad. Is the atmosphere good during training? I mean, what are you seeing?
Yeah, it's honestly it's the best I've seen it been even from last season. Especially, I watched a few sessions in that little break period where we didn't have a fixture, and they were working their socks off, to be honest with you, in the training. But the standard of it was very good. I mean, in and around the camp, I think they've had a few little iffy results and stuff, but they're still the same lads. You know, they understand the task in hand, and we're still in October. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's a wider thing to look at rather than just what's happening now and then, like when it's raw. But I've said this before, the senior group that they've got there, got no question that they will look after the whole group. And it takes a bit of time for them to buy into it and trust what the process is and things like that, especially with a lot of new lads and a lot of turnover. But they're fine, you know, they're bubbly. I speak to a lot of them still on day to day, so they're in a good place, I think.
So Jim, we got Stuart Watkins in as Adam's number 2. Do you know much about Stuart at all?
No, I don't.
Thanks, Jim.
Sorry. I think I've seen he's been at the club before, hasn't he? As a manager, or
he was in the dark days of League Two.
Yeah. Again, I think that's a positive. Obviously, the gaffer's come in and he's got his coaching staff with him. But I think it would be good for him just to have a bit of support as well. And it's good that he's clearly been here before. We'll know a bit about the town, the fans, and just the place in general. So I can't see it being an issue. I think they'll probably work well together. I've not met him yet, but I'm sure I'll see him tomorrow. Have
you met Luca, Jim?
Yeah. Met Luca.
Is he a nice boy like he's being portrayed? A nice boy?
Yeah, no, he's all right. He's
all right.
Yeah, he's fine. I mean, I trained with him. He's kind of like the new age of coaches and stuff like that. But he's a great lad. Lads love him as well. Really get on with him. He's bubbly around the building and keeps positive energy flowing. But yeah, he's a top bloke. Obviously, I've seen what's happened. Who knows what's going to happen now? But yeah, he's obviously just made a mistake. If that's the case, I'm sure the club will look into it and do the right thing. Either way.
They have already, so I reckon I don't think they get rid of him. I reckon he'll still be there. To be honest with you, that's just my thoughts on the way I've been reading the situation and that kind of thing. Jim, when is the Mansfield game, please?
Wednesday, 7:30.
This Wednesday, 7:30.
This Wednesday, yeah. Quick turnaround, yeah. Like I said, I think we got nearly 400 last fixture, so hopefully we can push a little bit more. We're gradually going up by the hundreds every fixture, so yeah, hopefully we can get up to maybe 6. We'll see.
6 people, brilliant.
I'll talk to the I'll talk to the members of the fan club, and we'll push that up to 402 for you, mate. So
thank you,
John. It's
good football. It's good football. Do you know what I mean? So if anyone's got nothing to do on a Wednesday, come down and have a watch.
Love that, John. Will you go?
I imagine I'll be there. Yeah, if I'm not too knackered after Tuesday night driving back from Merthyr.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course, man. Of course. Jim, so how's it all going with Hales Owen, mate?
It's going right. We won 3-0 on the weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had. It's really weird because it's been like a really negative 3 weeks because we got knocked out of both cups, and it felt like I looked at the table the other day and I thought, oh, God, we must be like 15th or something, and we drew a game And then I looked at the table, and we're like 5th and 3 points off top. So because those cup games came, we didn't have any league fixtures, and then we've actually not done too bad in the league. We're still within touching distance and stuff. So I think as long as we're slowly ticking over towards Christmas, and then we can push on from there. But it's going really well, really well.
How is it without John's best friend, Jamie Willits?
Yeah, he's gone, hasn't he? I don't know where he's gone.
He's gone to Rushall. Rushall have signed him up. Yeah, he did have a chance actually to link up with your old mate Phil Brown at Peterborough Sports.
Did he?
Yeah, but he refused it because he said it was too far. But he's a lazy git. No. In all seriousness, I think he's made the right decision. Yeah, he's got a young baby, so going to Rushall, I think will be great for him. And I've been down a couple of times to the Grove to watch Hales Owen lately, and it looks like you're having fun, mate. It looks like you're enjoying your football, and it looks. I know what you've just said about tough week, tough results, but on the pitch, it looks like you're having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just enjoying playing, to be honest. Like personally, I'm still not up to a point where I've like gone back to back 90 minutes. But I'm happy that I'm playing. Happy that I'm 10 minutes away from home every day. Like I said before, it just makes such a difference. So I understand Willits there not going all the way there. It makes such a difference just being around Kidderminster. You know what I mean? It's Costa del Kiddy, isn't it?
Tasty land, happy days. Right. So I said tonight would be an hour-long episode, and we got 3-4 minutes left. So let's chat any of the business. Let's go with Nick first. Nick, any of the business from you, my friend?
No, I don't think so. Looking forward to Tuesday. Hopefully we can get a big win with some actual goals. I think that's going to be the key to Tuesday. I can't see us keeping them at bay for the entire 90, but I've been wrong before, so maybe we will. But I do think it's going to be a game where we're going to need to score two or more to win the game, and I do actually think it could be a real entertaining one. I think the atmosphere should be good. I think it's the whole England-Wales scenario, so I think that will evoke some emotion from both sets of fans, and then if we can keep their forward line quiet, we'll give ourselves a chance. But we're going to need to be ruthless because they score a lot of goals. So if we're not on it at both ends of the pitch, I think we're in for a difficult night.
It's true. That is true, to be fair. Sorry, we've had some comments come in. Now, unfortunately, with this one, I cannot confirm or deny that I've got my pyros ready for Tuesday. I won't be there. I'm looking after my child, so unfortunately, no. Phil says, if Jim Kay promises photos and autographs, it will be a record attendance. Absolutely, I would have thought. So there.
Good point from Nick.
Very good point from Nick. This happened every kickoff yesterday. It's being put out for touch. Kickoff's being put out for touch. I don't know what you think about this, Jim.
Where's there must be some insight on that, because that must be something other managers are doing in your games or whatever. Maybe Russ isn't telling us to do that with your lot.
No, we don't. We keep the ball from kickoff. But I watched another podcast from Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville. I don't know if you've heard about it, but they were talking about the same thing, and they think that it's AI generated. They said it must be something to do with percentages, and it's an AI stat where they've gone, nope, get it out, and then we'll win the ball higher up the pitch.
I think that's what I've heard
makes
as
sense.
well. And
that makes sense.
I think with the it's almost like the rugby union approach, isn't it? Of possession. But the thing is, at that point in the game, I guess what the hope is you push the ball down there, and then you hope the opposition make a mistake, which lets you into an early opportunity, perhaps, and maybe it is a way of sort of turning that kickoff into a potentially attacking opportunity. But it is odd. It looks weird.
Can I just remind you, there was an interview with Matt Letizia about him doing that back in the 90s, because back in the 90s, it became a thing where you could bet on who would get rid of who would kick the ball out of touch first. John, you must know about this. You must know about this. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I'm not saying it's all about betting, but I'm just saying back in the day, Matt Letizia said it was all about betting. Yeah, so there you go. So I mean, no, it's not that.
Yesterday, when we kicked off after Chester scored, we actually went a bit too enthusiastic with it, and it ended up going out for a goal kick rather than a throw in. I certainly don't think that was anything to do with spot betting, Wes. I think that was just a bit of frustration creeping in.
Just my final piece of any other business, by the way. And again, I wasn't at the game yesterday, so John, I'll take your word around the directness of our style of play. But on the forum, there's talks about us being, quite a long ball team. There's been sort of moans and groans about us being that kind of team this season when we were kind of anticipating a more of a fluid style of football. Although at times we obviously have tried to keep the ball and whatnot. So that's the balance. But I think when we talk about feeling almost like it's inevitable that we're going to concede, I think if we are playing that more direct approach or that more front to back approach, which again, I'm not saying that is what we have been doing consistently, but if that does start to creep in on a more regular basis, ultimately just giving the opportunity for other teams to get into the game. And someone made a comment in this chat much further earlier on in the podcast around, the Chester manager said in his entire management career that 45 minutes yesterday, that first 45 minutes was the worst on his watch that he's ever managed in. So I think in some ways, whilst that looks to be a real positive, and I'm guessing that from an internal side, you cling on to that and go, look what we can do in a 45-minute window. And again, this could be just mind games from their manager, but he comes out in his post-match and says that was the worst we've ever played of any club I've ever managed in my career. So I do think we've got to kind of balance the fact of, what was that 45 minutes against yesterday. So yeah, I guess that's kind of it really for me. I think we've got to, if we're going to be direct, we've got to be really solid at the back, and we've got to nullify these opportunities that we tend to be getting punished for at the moment, almost chance by chance.
There you go. Is that any of the business done? Happy days. Dan?
I think for me, we talked a lot at the beginning about confidence. Merthyr are a very good attacking side. They are open at the back, and I do think this is a chance for Kurt, for Toby, for Dan Mooney. Go and express yourself, lads. Go and run at them. Go and do the things that we know you can do. I sort of feel like there has been this toxic environment around the club over the last few weeks, and I feel as though that shadow has lifted somewhat after yesterday's game. And what Nick just said about, was it more the opposition making us look good, etc. I think ultimately we need that right now. We need the toxicity to go. We need to take the positives where they are. And I think if we end up losing at Merthyr 5-4 or 7-6 or something like that, we're going to come away from that saying, look, we had a real go at them. And I want the lads, I know they watch, they're all sat there right now, they just won't comment. But I want the lads to know that we're behind you. We're right there behind you, just have a go. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes happen. Go and have a go. And hopefully we'll come away with 3 points. But if we come away with 3 goals, I'll be happy with that.
John, any other business from you, my friend?
Yeah, Dan's right. Mistakes happen, and mistakes happened yesterday from players, and they made up for them really well. We're not here to, we're just here to have a chat about the team that we love. We're not here to, criticise anyone or try and pick people apart. Want everyone to do really well. Dan, if we come back from Merthyr on Tuesday and we've lost 7-6, it's going to feel like a win. It's going to feel like it will feel like a win. So look, there's 2 approaches we can take to this game, I think, and Adam Murray's going to know far better than us what the best one is. I would say either we can go look at how they're free flowing, free scoring. We're going to have to press as high as we can and try and sniff around for those chances and outscore them, or we can do what we did at Kings Lynn against a free flowing side, and we
agreed.
We can park the bus and we can play long ball, counter attacking football. And people said it was boring. That's my like chef's kiss style of football. That is that kind of like just absolute, game of chess kind of football. I absolutely love that. Just eating up tackles. Right, I'm just going to very quickly throw it to Jim. Jim, I'm going to put you on the spot. What would your approach be Tuesday night?
Just build on Saturday. It's so boring and a simple answer, but it literally that is football. You've got a positive result against a Chester team that, regardless of how their gaffer has said that they've played, there's a lot of history behind that fixture in recent years. It's a tough place to go. It would have been loads of animosity with fans and stuff that you could feel anyway on the pitch. So I think a draw there is a positive result when you're Kiddie, because it's two big teams going head to head. And yeah, build on it again. I think it's an away game, so hopefully there'll be a bit less pressure if that's something that they're feeling when they're playing at Agborough. It'll just be stick to basics, win the game. Build on that. You've got two fixtures then, so if you win Tuesday, you've got a point on Saturday. You've got 3 points hopefully on Tuesday. That's 4 points in 2 games. That's what you need to win the league. It's 2 points per game. So yeah, build on that, and it will just keep rolling from there. That's how it works.
I love that. Thank you, Jim. That's why you always come back on, Jim.
Pardon?
Yeah. I said that's why we always get you back on, Jim, because you're all very excited about everything. And also the under-18s keep winning, so I feel like I have to get you back on now.
I hope I'm on here for the next 10 rounds.
And that's sweet.
I'll show you how to set up your own podcast if you want, Jim. It's fun. But listen, guys, thank you so much for joining in tonight. We've had loads of comments. Really appreciate that. Hang on a minute. Hang on. What I would say to everyone is tomorrow night the Merthyr Tydfil Speaks of Merthyr Tydfil podcast will drop. Who was it? Louis and what was his name?
Louis and Wolvesy from the Dial M for Merthyr podcast. We had a chat with them about what people can expect from their away day at Merthyr. And I would encourage everyone who is on the fence about going to Merthyr. Let's get there. Let's get behind the boys, and let's try and give them the support that the gaffer's calling for, that they're calling for. Let's see if we can turn that draw on Saturday into a win on Tuesday.
Absolutely. So that's my only my any other business was that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. I hope you enjoy tomorrow night as much as me and myself and John did. It was brilliant. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, John. Listen, we're clapping everyone. Nick, of course, Nick. There you go. And your main man, Jim. There you go. Thank you, everyone. Just enjoy it. Enjoy your week coming up. Enjoy Merthyr. And we will we'll be back on Sunday. I don't think we'll be here on Wednesday. I've got to work late, unfortunately. So, even if it is 7-6, we were imagine if it was 7-6.
That'd be amazing.
Are you kidding me? That will
Come on, Harriers on Tuesday.
If it's 7-6, I'll do a whole podcast from outside the ground, mate.
I love it, John. Thanks, pal. Thanks, mate. Cheers, guys. Cheers. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, right.